Yo, what is going on? Welcome back to the show. We are continuing down this path of scouting reports for Jaxson Dart. This quarterback class, I don't want to necessarily be the guy that's, known as saying a hater for this quarterback draft class, but it isn't an elite level class, but Jaxson Dart's got some abilities. I really wanted to, like his game, and I did find pockets in this game that I truly did appreciate and like and think, could he be something very good in the NFL? There is potential there. But a lot of the stars got to line up for this man as well. He's got good qualities, but there are worry signs. Let's talk grade score, pros and cons for a Jaxson Dart Ole Miss. So like I said, I'm not going to go fully on record saying historically bad class, but I'm not going to sit here and pump the tires and say this class is going to be abundant with superstar quarterback talent. But Jaxson Dart definitely is intriguing, to say the least, from his time with USC, going to Ole Miss and seeing the progression in his game continue with a Lane Kiffin absolutely was something to see, a pleasure and a joy in a lot of aspects of his tape, but there is a lot of things we got to discuss. Let's talk those measurables. 6'2", 223. He is 21 years of age, 45 contests, like I said, with USC and Ole Miss, majority of his time with Ole Miss, 65.2% on the completion percentage, 11,970 yards passing, 81 TDs to only 27 interceptions. So statistically speaking, we can see the Jaxson Dart hype, and we understand why people are getting excited about his potential capabilities in the NFL, because he does have a lot of skills, and we did see year over year progression in his game, which made him very, much warranting to be in the conversation of being the top quarterback in this class. But I think we've already established a point where the Tennessee Titans want to go with their pick with Cam Ward. We could talk Jaxson Dart and where he could potentially go, especially with some of these pros. Frame is put together, man. Like a lot of these guys in this draft class, with Cam Ward, with Shadir Sanders, with a Jaxson Dart, all under the 6'4", prototypical quarterback stature, 6'2", 223. At least his frame is put together. He kind of reminds me, not gameplay-wise, but you're talking, body frame and potential, Baker Mayfield. He's got the ability, especially in the mobile aspect, when we see it at the bottom, the more mobility that he does possess in that frame, with the power rushing upside, the ability to get down the field and make plays, especially when he's bowling people over, trying to score touchdowns. Very much Baker Mayfield-esque in that respect, in the running aspect. He's not a field burner by any stretch, but at least, the mobility is definitely more than enough to get down the field and make a lot of plays to be that multi-threat quarterback. But the frame definitely put together, can sustain a lot of contact, and we'll talk about what he does well in the pocket when it comes to that frame as well. Arm talent is good enough. It is not elite, much like I said about Cam Ward and a Shadir Sanders. You can get excited about the arm talent. You cannot say it's going to ever be an elite level arm. He gets down the field. He can make a lot of plays, especially when we're talking deep passes. Jaxson Dart does this extremely well, but are you ever going to consider him an elite arm talent? No, you're not. And that's kind of why everyone's saying, is it a weaker QB class? In that case, yes, it is. Absolutely. Pass release is quick. This is what you want to see. If you don't have that, supreme arm talent to, stretch the field all the time, at least get the ball out of your hands very fast. Jaxson Dart probably has one of the better releases in this draft class, even over somebody like Cam Ward and a Shadir Sanders in that respect. I do like the pass release. The big boy throws definitely on display in 2024, man. Absolute plus grades for me, where you see how many times he threw unbelievably, a pinpoint deep down the field, sideline, mid-range, big boy throws over the linebackers, in between the safeties, small windows. You see this from Jaxson Dart quite a bit, and you're okay, I see everything you're doing on the field, which means you can actually translate this to the pros. Definitely has a lot of big boy throws on his 2024 tape. 2023, not as many, but you see 2024, there's so many to get excited about. It definitely is on display. Ball placement, very good and improving. Over 4,000 yards this past year. We saw bucket drops, whether it be over the middle, in the seams, going deep down the field, sidelines, in the breadbasket, dropping dimes, in the red zone, back shoulders, in the red zone, going to the back pylon. We see ball placement absolutely very good in a Jaxson Dart, and it is something that I do think will continue to improve. I don't think he's polished yet, and it's a lot to say that he could improve even more, which would make him that much better in the NFL. Throws a very pretty deep ball. We're talking about, guys that can get and lead their wide receivers down the field. We saw how many times Trey Harris, he's just running free. Ball comes right in his hand. He could have placed it better if he ran down there and gave it to him. That's what you want to see from a Jaxson Dart. Very good spiral, tight spiral, nice little moon ball, almost puts it on a rope at times. Very good deep balls throws from a Jaxson Dart. Throwing darts, pun intended. It's going to be a constant thing for Jaxson Dart. He's throwing darts. That's just how it is, man. Great touch pass accuracy definitely is there on display as well. Even though his career had, 65% completion percentage, you do see a lot of the good touch in his passes, and I think that's a big part of his game. You don't have necessarily the big cannon of an arm, but you can throw a pretty deep ball, and you can throw passes with great touch and upside. I think that will definitely carry you when it's like talking game manager Brock Purdy style. This is another situation. You can win with quarterbacks like this, and Jaxson Dart definitely falls into that category of being a great touch passer. Showing those tight window throws, like I said, with the big boy throws, in between, like in the red zone, you see him like in between two safeties coming after his wide receiver. He just bang, quick release, and it's a touchdown. Very good in those tight window, short area throws. He does have a whip. The velocity isn't necessarily elite either, but he has shown the ability with the quick release when the timing is there that he can get in those tight windows and make things happen. He stands in the face of pressure. I think this is part of his game that I love the most, is the fact he is not rattled when the pressure is right in his face. He will still make a play. He will get it down the field. He will make a very good quality throw when pressure is all over him. That's something you can't teach, man. That's something that's God-given. You just have the instinctual nature and feel the rush coming after you and are still able to stand it in the face and make that throw. That's why when we're talking the 223, he's not evaded by this whatsoever, and he's going to stand tall in the face of pressure, and he's going to make a lot of throws. Absolutely love this about a Jaxson Dart in his game. He's shown creativity. He's able to escape the pocket and roll out, but there are issues in that sense as well. But, I mean, he can extend, whether it's mobility wise, like I said, more than enough mobility. He can take off and run. He can create by rolling out, keeps his eyes down the field. Not as good as Sanders and a Cam Ward, but he's able to make a lot of plays. Creativity is there. It's definitely a point of contention to say that it should be a pro because he can extend plays. Is he elite at it? Is he great at it? Probably not. It can definitely improve, but we have seen it more than once. But for some cons, Jaxson Dart is a good quarterback. Is he a great quarterback? Probably not, but there's still a lot of room to grow. He can throw off his back foot a little too much, trying to trust that arm talent when it isn't necessarily there. You got to have a cannon to be consistently throwing off your back foot. And how did I say about rookie quarterbacks? You got to show the footwork first and foremost, and that you get my head to turn instantly when your footwork is polished. There is some things to grow here where he does, mechanical issues when it comes to the footwork, when it comes to the hip torque, throwing off the back foot, trying to, extend. You see the balls die. The throwing on the run tends to die out as well. Even on the going to the right, he's a right-handed quarterback, and these balls just die flat when he's throwing that way. Definitely does not have the arm torque when he is rolling out of the pocket. That is a concern. So you almost want to keep him more in the pocket where he does make a majority of his damage. Throwing on the run tends to be an issue. We did see a few where he's going cross body, and he does make a very good throw, but it is very much putting everything he's got into it, and it's only going like 20 yards down the field. So definitely nothing to, suggest that he can't do it. It's just something of a concern where these balls do die out, would be susceptible to interceptions in the NFL. True throw velocity, hit and miss, man. This is what I'm talking about. You see it in those tight window throws where the pass release is super quick and you're like, damn, okay, there's some velocity on that ball. And then the rest of the time you're like, well, where is it gone? Why can't you do this anymore? So the true velocity consistency, it is hit and miss for me. He's going to do it, and you see it sometimes where he does alter his arm mechanics, where he is, depending on where he wants to place that football, going more sidearm, rounding off his rotation on his arm, cocking it back. You see very different alterations to his mechanics, and it does, the sidearm sling fine. We've seen quarterbacks do it. We see Matthew Stafford do it all the time. It works. We've seen a guy like Phillip Rivers have one of the most unorthodox throwing motions ever in the NFL, and he made it work for a long time. Jaxson Dart just does what he's comfortable with, and he can make it work, but I think there will be some mechanical issues you will fix, and that comes with the footwork overall being average, and it definitely needs improvement. You definitely got to work on the feet, man. They got to be bouncy. You got to be ready to go. It's not terrible, but it's definitely a work in progress for me. Right now, it's average overall. This is a teachable trait. You can help this man. Look at Josh Allen, fixed all of his throwing mechanics, and look how good he can be. So there is a situation where he can work his game out in so many ways when he does have, supreme talents, the arm velocity. I think with a more hip torque and mechanical, improvements will aid in his velocity as well. Tailored offense, is this part of the issue? Was the offense tailored completely to his skill set? Sure. Is that a problem? Not necessarily. necessarily because if he's gonna be the franchise passer, you got to tailor it around him anyway. But I mean, the quick throws, the one reads, I mean, we saw so many times of that where the game was scripted for him to succeed. That's a good coaching by Lane Kiffin. Got to give him ups for that. And then the execution by Dart to say that he can do it, absolutely. It's not necessarily a con to have a tailored offense, but you want to see some off-script stuff. You want to see him, be creative and capable when things aren't working out and make those, supreme big boy plays. And there was some times where it was lacking and you were looking for more. Still like his game, still think that he is a very good quality quarterback, and there is definitely room to grow, but I don't think we're ever going to sit here and say Jaxson Dart is going to be one of the best to ever play this game. But for grading purposes, I mean, he graded out fairly well for where he is today. I think there is ample room to grow. I don't think he's a finished product by any stretch of the imagination. 74.8%. Still kind of, hovering around where I think this quarterback class is, man. You're not going to have any of those top-end, outstanding, exceptional ability players. You're going to see them just a touch lower than that. There could be perennial backups in this class, 110%, where we could see maybe one or two, maybe have a 4 or 5 year, 10-year as a starting quarterback and then just fade off. But, I mean, we'll see. I'm a big Shadir Sanders fan. I think that he could be the most, potential, top-end QB out of this class. Not going to sleep on Cam Ward either, but Jaxson Dart definitely is behind these two when it comes to overall skill set as we sit today. There that is. Jaxson Dart going to be throwing darts all over the field. And I mean, I know that's going to get tiresome pretty quick. He's a good quarterback, and he still has lots of room to grow. And I think that's where the upside lies if you do draft this man. Will he end up being a first-round commodity? Likely could to those Pittsburgh Steelers at number 20, or someone could trade back into the first round at the end of the draft to get that fifth-year option on the rookie contract. We will see. It will definitely get interesting, but he is a good quarterback with some potential. I don't think I'd sell the farm for him, though, in my opinion. But nevertheless, as always, don't forget to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, jump in those comments, give me your thoughts. What do y'all think of Jaxson Dart? Is he your top quarterback? Where does he sit in the rest of this class? Throw it in the comments. We can definitely talk it out. But we'll see you next time. I am out.